I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Well, it's a long, long
Bill Crane,
journey
when you
to
hear
the
that means it's time for Bill Crane every Friday. First Friday in the new year, Bill joining us. Bill Crane of CSI Crane. How are you, my friend?
I am well, Shell. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
How was your party last night?
Well, I can't talk about it. We don't know. No, I don't know what you're talking about, Bill. But it was good, I heard.
Okay, never mind.
I heard it was very good.
It's your show. You asked the question.
Yeah, it was very good. I appreciate you. I heard it was very good. Let me ask you this, Bill. Before we begin, I've got to ask you this. You said something to me when we were talking earlier today. I did not know this. Georgia, you told me something about Georgia and Martin Luther King holiday. Can you tell the audience what you told me?
Sure. Governor Joe Frank Harris was the governor of the state of Georgia, and Georgia had the Martin Luther King holiday before Ronald Reagan made it a federal holiday. The first celebration was here in Atlanta up on Peachtree Street. There was a parade. And so Atlanta and Georgia did lead the nation in the celebration of the Martin Luther King holiday, which became a federal holiday the following year by declaration of Ronald Reagan in Congress.
That's awesome. I did not know that about our great state. That's good. That's good stuff. I wanted people to hear it from you because I did not know about it. Let's talk a little politics, Bill. Question. I don't like this idea. I get it, but I don't like it. There's a law passed in Georgia for Georgia taxpayers to pay Donald Trump's legal fees from the case down here. And does that apply to everyone in that case?
Well, last year, the Georgia General Assembly, as it was becoming clear that DA Fonnie Willis was going to be likely removed from that case for misconduct, in the state Senate, a bill was sponsored. It was passed and signed into law that in any criminal case in Georgia where the district attorney is removed from the case for cause, the defendants in that case may sue the district attorney in that jurisdiction. There are 37 district attorney circuits in Georgia for recompense of their legal fees. And the judge in that case gets to review and determine what is reasonable, meaning they can't say it's $100 million. So in this case, of the Donald Trump and 19 co-defendants in the election interference case, President Trump was the first within the 45 days he's allowed to file for reimbursement of his legal fees. His lead attorney, Steve Sadell, handled the filing, and he's asking the Fulton County taxpayers via the Fulton County DA's office to pony up $6.5 million to reimburse his legal expenses.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't either, but yes, all of the other those who didn't plead. If they pled, that's different. But
right.
Those who were to be tried,
right? No, I get.
But who defended themselves also can make the same application for their legal fees. And Judge Robert McBurney gets to review the amount and determine what is fair and equitable in terms of what is cut.
I just feel like because it seems like a law passed for a specific group, or in this case, for this case, because the DAs are not removed off of cases very often, are they? Maybe I'm wrong.
It's rare, it happens, but it also opens up the question: should then every criminal defendant who is wrongfully prosecuted, because we know that happens all the time. If the DA is
right.
Yeah, should whatever they, if they didn't have a public defender, should those legal fees be? It sets up a special class, and clearly the intent here was to again return salt to the wound to the 2020 election cycle and claim that it was all a scam and all bogus and that there was no wrongdoing.
Yeah, and I don't know
in terms of the president's actions related to attempting to or not attempting to overturn the results of Georgia's 2020 election.
It just seems I don't know. I don't like it as a conservative. It just seems anti-conservative to me. To take people's tax dollars to return it back to people I don't know. It's just something about it that doesn't sit right.
Certainly not fiscally conservative, but
right.
In the list of things that I find distasteful, this is well down that list.
Bill, let's move on. Let's talk about. Let's see. What do I want to talk about with you? Polling and ICE seems to recent YouGov poll shows 53% of Americans believe that the ICE agent in the shooting of Miss Good should be prosecuted, and a higher percentage found that did not agree with him shooting her. What do you think is going this issue is going to how it's going to play in the midterms for Republicans? That's what I've been concerned about.
I think it's potentially very damaging. There's a difference between securing our borders, which I think virtually everyone, Republican and Democrat on some level, supports, and going into neighborhoods or schools or churches or hospitals or even places of business, and in some cases taking U.S. citizens into detention. I mean, we are hearing daily now multiple American citizens, some with documentation, who are arrested and detained in Minnesota around these raids, not to mention the fact that ICE officers are not police officers. They're not trained to interact with the public. They're not trained to do conflict resolution or de-escalation. So how much smoother could this have gone if they'd coordinated with state and local law enforcement? Well, if they had a crime scene area marked off instead of, I mean, you've seen the footage. I know I have. None of the ICE personnel I saw had anything that indicated who they were, like a GBI or an FBI or a CSI jacket. I didn't see any badges. Most of them were masked. I mean, it could have been a gang coming into a neighborhood. They were clearly armed, but there is a way most federal agencies, even the DEA, when they're not knocking down doors in a raid, approach the public. And it just seems like and again, I'll support law enforcement. I'll support our U.S. military personnel. But what I've seen in recent weeks by ICE, as they've gone into multiple cities, this being the most recent, and they're not done there yet, acting more like a secret police agency.
And I think that's what people are seeing with their own eyes. Again, you know, as we talk about conservatism, and you know, again, something that we never really were for as conservatives. I'm not saying as Republicans, but as conservatives. Clive Bundy, Waco, all of these things. We had the black helicopters, militia groups forming because they didn't want the federal government coming into their area. And now all of a sudden we're welcoming them. And I think it's because because people start to think it's never going to happen to me, so it's easy to support it because it's getting rid of people that should be gotten rid of, which are illegal immigrants. But it's the implementation, like much of this second Trump term, the policies I agree with. It's the implementation that I disagree with.
Well, Shelley, I am all for removing people that are in jail or prison, awaiting trial and custody for serious charges, who we know from researching their documents and background in other countries that they came from committed multiple crimes. But when we start taking out the high school janitor or the gentleman or woman who runs a small shop or a beautician's salon in our neighborhood who's been paying taxes and a generally good participating member of society for 20 years, yes, there should be laws. Yes, people should come into leave. Yes, people should not overstay their visas. But I'm not for chasing those people down in the street and handcuffing them, much less their neighbors or anyone who says, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
That's somehow grounds to have your face blown off.
Right. You and I are in lockstep on this, Bill. Get ready to be called a rhino and all sorts of names.
Oh, I've been worse, Joe. I know some of this is new territory for you, but I don't even speak some of the words I've been called.
Finally, you heard in our news report before you came on, Ruhr Roman, running for governor, progressive here in Georgia on the Democrat side, is trying to push a bill. She came on the show and talked about it at the start of the session, getting rid of tax breaks slowing down or stopping, putting a halt to data center growth in Georgia. And you heard a clip from the great Jonathan O'Brien, Jason Anavitarte, head of the Senate, saying essentially we're going to get rid of tax breaks. Data centers future in Georgia. What are your thoughts?
They're going to keep coming, but maybe not at the same pace. We've got, depending on how you define a data center, between 80 and 100 that are already here. And I'm most familiar with an industrial development called Stanton Springs, which is shared by 4 counties east of Atlanta, about an hour, where Rivian's going. Meta, Facebook, has 4 data centers there, 2 of which are branded and labeled Facebook, 2 of which are just Meta. If we want 5G and all this stuff on our mobile phones, if we want AI, they require that. But I'm not necessarily for giving them massive tax abatements. Those are very profitable for the companies that own and manage them, at least at this point, and perhaps make them build a water treatment center for the, treating sewage for all the water they need. Perhaps make them pay Georgia Power to build cogeneration on site, or build cogeneration on site instead of tapping into the grid. There are ways to approach this that don't shut the industry out. They do produce a tremendous amount, if they're not given abatements, of property taxes. In Newton County, the county I just referenced, the chair of the commission there is talking about, let's let the data centers pay all of the property taxes and give full homestead relief to every homeowner in Newton County. I'm not saying that's a solution right off the bat, but that's worth discussing.
Right. Now, but don't the data companies just say we'll move and go someplace else?
They may, but again, they can't really afford the Northeast. The Southwest doesn't have the water they need. Land is extremely expensive west of the Rockies, almost anywhere unless you're in a really rural area.
Right.
So they look at the Southeast predominantly because land is cheap, water is plentiful, and within an hour you can be in several major cities.
Bill Crane, he knows
and
what
airports.
And airports, right? And we're well run because we're all run by Republicans. We just can't lose our minds with this power that we have. That's my fear. Nothing's changed in our polling locally here. To speaking on the alleged event that you asked me about at the start of the show, had many Republicans and Democrats I heard were there, and it was a great event. It showed a lot of diversity that can happen when people get together to have fun.
And when the host is affable and gregarious and open-minded and listens to, even if he has his own opinions, listens to the thoughts and feelings and positions of others. Yeah, that's a great place to be. I came from an event tonight that the AJC had for retiring journalist Bill Torpey, and the governor, the mayor, and Michael Thurmond, who's a former elected official and candidate for governor, all spoke, and they all agreed Bill Torpey's a great guy. Right. So, yeah, it's doable.
I got to retire then to have that party that you talked about earlier.
Well, if you do, Shelley, please save me a microphone spot at the roast.
I absolutely will. Bill Crane, how can people reach you, Bill?
I'm on most all the socials. My email is bill.csicrane@gmail.com, and my weekly opinion, One Man's Opinion. If you want, you can subscribe to that on my Substack for free and have it sent to your email inbox. It's also available on WSBradio.com.
My man, have a great weekend. Have a great MLK weekend, Bill. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
We'll be right back.
Yes, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol